in the capital market. Thokozani Saulos is operations manager for Alliance Capital Stock Brokers.
We can describe it as very above expectation in the first quarter, because as you can see, we're coming from a period where we had an impact of the pandemic on the market. We expected that in the first quarter the market would decrease in terms of activity and in terms of the market index. But contrary to what we expected, the market has performed above average. It has increased by 0.53%, whilst in the previous year, the first quarter, it decreased according to expectation. Much of this has been attributed mostly due to banks, trading statements from banks. You can see that the five top gainers are only the banking industry, and despite that, there have been 11 decliners in the market, but these five have significantly offset the decline that has been there in share prices. So it has been above our expectations.
What is the outlook?
We expect that in the second quarter it has to continue to grow, because now, as you can see, that most companies have produced their financial statements, audited financial statements, and you can see that there are more positives than negatives, save for the hotel industry, which has been largely affected by the pandemic. But we should expect that the market should have a positive impact in the next coming quarters. You can see that it's specific to certain companies, mostly the hospitality industry. But you can also see that there are certain companies that have been affected. You can look at Pico, for instance. They already stated that they have clients which the pandemic has affected the business of their clients, and they're failing to pay rentals. Some of them are even closing shop. It is best to invest when the prices are low, and you sell when the prices are high. So despite the pandemic, we should know that the pandemic will go. And once it goes, all these companies, all these counters will have to produce positive results. And some of them are already producing positive results amidst the pandemic.
And Noel Kazakumanja is Chief Executive Officer for Stock Brokers Malawi Limited.
The market has performed well, better than last year in the same quarter. In this quarter, it has registered a positive return of 0.53%, while in the same quarter last year, it had registered a negative return of 3.56%. So this is an improvement. Looking at the circumstances that we are in, we are going through COVID pandemic, business has slowed down, so this was not expected. I'm sure it's also the performance of some of the counters. There are counters that have performed so well. We talk of Airtel as an example, and we talk of the banks. Many of them, they've done well. So the prices have responded to that performance. Well, the worrying thing is to do with the COVID pandemic. If the situation gets better, then we should expect some better performance as we get to the end of the year. Yeah.
During the period, market capitalization increased from 1.75 trillion kwacha in January to 1.7 trillion kwacha in March.
Now, 2020 would go in the history books as the year to forget for most businesses. COVID-19 affected operations of businesses in almost all sectors, of course, except for the banking sector, which remained afloat. To prove its resilience, the banking sector seemed to make more profits than the case was the previous year. Now, there have been concerns that probably banks could be profitable.
Seem to operate in a different world altogether. If published results of the year ending December 31, 2021 are anything to go by, then there must be a call for honeymoon in the sector. Almost all banks have posted profit jumps of above 20%, a scenario already raising eyebrows among consumers. Leslie Vito says while banks might be in business for profitability, some of the charges on customers are exorbitant.
To me as a customer, there's no problem there, as long as this government are providing the services, good services.
That makes maybe businesses. As a consumer, I would want to make sure that I think those people that are also doing business, they are also looking at the interests of consumers, and that when they are making business, they are moving together with the consumers. But unfortunately, what we the actual topic that you are raising now regarding the banks is coming at a time when we know that the whole economy is on huge stress, and also coming at a time when we have COVID-19, where most of the industries are now collapsing, cannot even perform, where consumers do not have even access to incomes, where consumers do not have even jobs right now. Now you see one sector of the economy, like the financial sector, making huge profits like those. Then you wonder, where is this money coming from? Because then you are talking about those industries who they borrow money to, those consumers who they borrow money to, they are all faded, they are all dead. But only one person who borrows the money is the only one standing tall and doing business as usual and making money. So the question that we are trying to raise now is, if indeed it is true that they are making such huge profits, why is that only happening with the commercial banks? When you look at the borrowing pattern that Malawians have, the industries, they have milked out. Their blood has been drained out because they borrow from the banks. The consumers borrow from the banks. Therefore, that has really affected the overall performance of the economy. The economy is completely down now. Then the question that I think we are raising now is, why are these banks posting these huge profits? Where are they getting these profits from? It could be that they are continuing siphoning or killing the industry, according due to high interest rates. They have now sacked the consumer to a point where the consumer has got nothing left.
However, the industry attributes its profitability status to innovation. Bankers Association of Malawi Chief Executive Officer Linus Nkungula says banks embarked on product diversification, factors that have contributed to financial institutions keeping afloat in turbulent times. There has been advocacy to have interest rates capped as a way of protecting consumers in recent pasts.
Remember, this is Business Time, a magazine program where we bring you major business and economic news stories that are making headlines in the country. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is Business Time, a magazine program where we bring you major business and economic news stories that are making headlines in the country. Moving on with the program. About 2 weeks ago, the Ministry of Agriculture announced farm gate prices for various commodities in the country. Maize, for instance, has been set at a minimum price of 150 kwacha per kilogram. However, this has attracted mixed reactions from various stakeholders, and farmers say they were not consulted. Now, what is at stake? This is a question our journalist attempts in this report.
Agriculture Minister Robin Lowe announced that government has set minimum price of maize at 150 kwacha per kilogram, shelled groundnuts at 480 kwacha per kg, polished rice at 600 kwacha per kg, 320 kwacha per kg for soya beans and cotton, while 510 kwacha per kg for pure beans, paprika at 850 kwacha per kg, and chilies at 770 kwacha per kg. Commenting on the prices, Legumes Development Trust Programs Coordinator Sangwani Makoko said much as they are contented with the prices of some crops, some prices need to be revised. She said groundnuts and pigeon peas, for example, they feel that government could have done better because for groundnuts, the association does not know what determined its prices, because there has been a rise in prices on unshelled, but the price for shelled remains the same, yet shelled groundnuts is the one which has a lot of efforts that goes into it. The president of the Cotton Farmers Association, Dixon Gundani, shares the same sentiments that cotton prices are lower and not befitting the investment that goes into the production. He says that last year's prices were higher than this year's, but they still sold at lower prices than the minimum price set by government, which means that this year it will be worse. The association has seen their markets internationally, and even for maize, farmers will not benefit compared to last year. Ministry of Agriculture spokesperson Gresham Lungu says the prices came after a wider consultation.
Whenever we would like to set up the farm gate prices, we invite the stakeholders, but we do not invite everyone. What we do is that we just invite the representatives from each and every category. If you are looking at the farmers, we do get the representation from the Union of Malawi. At the same time, if you're looking at the cotton farmers, we also invited them through their president. He attended the consultations. If you look at these other stakeholders, the civil society organizations, they were represented by their leadership. So it's like we do not get anyone. What we do is just to get the representation of those people. And since now these people, they do have some meetings, they agree there that our price is this one. They make propositions. But when the propositions come on the table where we are now deciding on what the price should be, that's when now we look at all the factors, like if it's a farmer, how much is the farmer using to produce like 1 kilogram of maize, if it's about cotton, if it's about soybeans. So we look at those factors. Then we consider the market, the prices on the market. If you look at maize, what was the previous price in the previous years, and what about cotton? What were the prices in the previous years, and what about on the international market? What are the prices? If you look at the factors, we say that like on the market, what are the prices on the market, so that we can also factor in all these factors.
He adds that government, through the Ministry of Agriculture, is still consulting different stakeholders on the issue. He warned that they are working with different security agents to bring to book anyone who will be duping farmers.
We have engaged the Malawi police, and we have even started some sensitization campaigns to make sure that the church leaders, look at the political leaders, even the chiefs themselves in the villages, they have to be aware of what government wants to do in regards to enforcement of the farm gate prices. So we'll still work hand in hand with these other stakeholders to make sure that those who are buying in the rural areas, they are having the licenses. The licenses is something that will compel them to make sure that they are complying with the set farm gate prices. If they see the farmers themselves see that someone is buying at a low price as compared to the farm gate price, they have to report to the police. They have to report to the traditional leaders, even to us, the ministry, so that we can go and check and even get confiscate the licenses which we have given them. So this is what we are trying to do. At the same time, we wanted to empower the youth, even in the locals, that whoever is buying in the typical villages should at least make sure that he gets a license from us. No big companies should go in the villages to buy, but these small scale business operators should be the ones to buy in the rural areas. Then they should seal some deals with the big companies in towns, that they should have to sell their produce to these big companies in town.
President Lazarus Chakwera announced that Agricultural Development and Marketing Corporation, ADMAC, has been equipped to effectively buy from farmers.
Now, moving on with the program and in other business news. Crafting of a proposed bill aimed at bringing sanity in the human resources management profession is at an advanced stage. This is according to Godwin Ngoma, who is president of the Institute of People Management in Malawi. He caught up with our journalist Justin Mkweu in this interview.
That is one of our key objectives as the Institute of People Management Malawi. Basically, is to professionalize our professional and be well recognized as a professional. So we are indeed pushing. It goes to the committee of principal secretaries. The next thing is they take it to the committee of the cabinet committee on legal affairs. And after it passes that, then it goes to the full cabinet, and then later on it now goes into parliament where they debate upon and remove it. But indeed, it is a key issue that we have at hand.
What gap is this bill, if it materializes, going to fill in the human resource profession in Malawi?
It is going to be a very key thing. Actually, to us, we call it a major groundbreaking issue. Because once this has been passed, it becomes a law that every professional who is practicing HR needs to have the right qualification, not to be recognized. So what will happen is that each and every institution, the human resource part will be handled by people who really know what HR is, and they will be bringing in the right thing that is supposed to be there. You and me will agree that we've got a lot of organizations that are running in Malawi here, a lot of companies, be it small or big, but you see that most of the people who are practicing HR are not HR professionals, and hence we have a lot of issues, a lot of problems that are coming in how HR is managed or how employees are managing their workplace.
Now, as you have said, that there are a lot of issues surrounding how employees are managed, and one of the things that mostly come out is the people, HR, because they mostly believe that HR people, they do hire and fire. So now they tend, most of the issues that we hear of misconducts are that they tend to abuse their powers towards, for example, sexual harassment and everything else. But do you feel that this bill is going to fill those things that we hear on almost each and every day?
Yes, definitely. Some of the things you hear are hearsay, are they generalized and they're not there, but indeed issues are there. And we as professionals in HR, we cannot run away from that, but to accept that indeed there are issues. But we are saying these issues are happening because these people are not controlled. We've got no real control to control them or to discipline them, because some of them are called HR, but they don't know HR. And they are not our members. So when a thing happens, the voice that comes out is an HR practitioner. And once you say an HR practitioner, it's HR which is affected. And that's why as an institution we say, no, let's have an institution that has got a bill, has got a law guiding it, therefore that anyone who can do wrong can be challenged and can be rightfully disciplined.
Well, that interview also brings us to the end of today's edition of the program Business Time. It's a magazine program where we bring you major business and economic news stories that are making headlines in the country. On behalf of the entire production team, my name is William Kumwembe. Always remember, if it doesn't make money, then it doesn't make sense. Goodbye for now and stay safe.